there lived a farmer named Anil. His life, though simple, was woven with both hardship and hope. He lived in a small mud brick house at the edge of the village, surrounded by the green fields that he cultivated with his own hands. His family had farmed these lands for generations, but times were tougher now than they had ever been. Anil's farm was not large, just a few acres of land. He grew rice and barley, depending on the seasons and the rains. He owned a few cattle, but they were aging and didn't produce much milk anymore. Still, Anil kept them because he couldn't afford to replace them. His clothes were worn, his shoes had holes, and his hands were rough from years of toil. Despite all of this, Anil's eyes still held a spark of hope that one day, things would get better. Each day, Anil woke before the sun and began his work. The fields needed tending, the cattle needed feeding, and the soil needed care. Some days, the sun beat down mercilessly, drying the soil and making the work even harder. Other days, the rains came too late, or not at all, and his crops would wither. Anil's heart ached as he watched the earth crack beneath the dry winds, but he never gave up. He knew that if he stopped fighting against nature's fury, there would be nothing left for his family to eat. His wife, Sita, was his constant companion, supporting him in every task. She was strong, always by his side. Whether it was planting seeds, carrying water from the village well, or preparing meals with the little they had. Their two children, Rani and Jai, were still young, but Anil hoped they would have a better life. He dreamed of sending them to school, to give them a future beyond the farm, but poverty weighed heavily on them. Every day was a battle to make ends meet. The market was unpredictable. Sometimes prices were low, and sometimes they could barely cover their costs. The local moneylender, a man who had taken advantage of Anil's difficult circumstances, demanded the repayment of a loan that seemed impossible to clear. The burden of debt loomed large over Anil, and yet, he kept his head down and continued to work, hoping for a miracle. One year, the rains failed entirely. Not a drop fell from the sky, and the crops withered away before they could be harvested. Anil tried everything he could think of. He dug deeper into the earth, praying for water, but the dry soil refused to give. His family was hungry, and the village was in despair. The market price of rice soared, and the few crops that had survived were sold for prices Anil could no longer afford. He knew that if things didn't change soon, they would be forced to leave their home, to abandon the land that had been in his family for centuries. One evening, as the sun dipped below the hills, casting a golden light